Welcome back to Crypto Coin Insider. I'm Candace, and this is your daily Bitcoin analysis for November 26, 2025. Today, we're looking at what changed overnight and what the market is telling us right now. So, here's what happened. Bitcoin closed yesterday at around $88,229. That's a 1.67% gain from the day before. Now, look, that sounds positive, but let's zoom out. Overnight, we saw some choppy action. Bitcoin dipped as low as $86,113. Then it bounced back up toward $88,000. The key thing here? We're still stuck below $90,000. This level has become major resistance. It used to be support, now it's a wall. Right now, Bitcoin is trading around $87,622. The price is stabilized, but don't confuse stabilization with strength. Let's break down what the chart is showing us today. Looking at the AlphaFlow Pro indicator on my TradingView chart, the market status is showing bear. The phase reads deeply oversold. The action says monitor closely, nearing bottom. Here's the thing. The 200-week moving average slope is pointing down. Price is sitting about 20.8% below that key average. That's significant weakness. The MVRBZ proxy reads 0.98. Anything below 1 historically signals undervaluation. This is a data point bulls will cling to. Volatility sits at 9.05%. Elevated, but not extreme. Now for the momentum indicators. The RSI 14 is sitting at 28. That's deeply oversold territory. The stochastic K reads 20, also oversold. The MACD level is negative 5,935. That confirms reduced trend strength. The Elite Crypto Analysis Panel shows Elliott wave status as bullish impulse waves 1 to 5. But here's the twist. The short-term trend reads bearish. Support is at $80,619. Resistance sits at $107,461. Risk-to-reward ratio is 2.83 to 1. The signal says high volatility zone. This means expect big moves, either direction. What changed since yesterday? The RSI pushed above 50 briefly on the 1-hour chart. The MACD turned positive above its signal line on shorter time frames, but the daily structure remains weak. Now, let's talk sentiment. This is where things get interesting. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index sits at 20. That's extreme fear. This hasn't changed much from yesterday. We've been stuck in fear territory all month. Here's what did change. Whale activity exploded this week. According to sentiment data, whales made over 102,000 transactions above $100,000. Another 29,000 transactions exceeded $1 million. This is on track to be the most active whale week of 2025. Now, here's the key insight. The pattern is shifting. Whales moved from selling to accumulating. Glassnode confirms wallets holding over 1,000 Bitcoin have been steadily increasing since late October. On the ETF front, November has been brutal. Nearly $3.5 billion in outflows so far. That's approaching the record set in February 2025. BlackRock's IBIT alone saw about $2.2 billion in redemptions. But here's the macro catalyst. Fed rate cut odds have shifted dramatically. As of this week, probability of a December cut jumped back to around 75%. That's up from just 30% days ago. New York Fed President John Williams signaled room for further adjustment. Rate cuts historically help risk assets like Bitcoin. Now, let's check the power law model. This is one of the most reliable long-term frameworks for Bitcoin valuation. Current spot price? Around $87,503. Power law fair value? $116,343. Power law support? $46,537. What does this mean? Bitcoin is trading roughly 25% below fair value. That's a significant discount. According to analyst Adam Livingston, Bitcoin has been hugging the fair value line since March 2024. This is unusual. Every time this happened before, one of two things occurred. Either Bitcoin exploded upward, or it briefly dipped to the lower band, then ripped higher. The power law upper band by December 31st, 2025 is projected at approximately $512,000. The low end sits just above $50,000. So where are we in the cycle? We're in the accumulation phase. The power loss says we're not overextended. In fact, we're undervalued. The signal here, long-term holders should not panic. Short-term traders should watch for a bounce toward fair value. But be realistic. Reaching $142,000 by year-end requires massive buying. The model says it's possible. The market needs to cooperate. All right, let's get into the numbers you came here for. Next 3 days prediction. Expect continued volatility between $85,000 and $90,000. The immediate resistance is at $87,470. If we hold above this level, we could test $89,000. Downside risk remains toward $82,000. That's the key support zone identified by multiple analysts. If that breaks, we're looking at $74,000 to $76,000 as the next major floor. The short-term bias, cautiously bullish, but only if we hold above 85,000. Next 7 days prediction, the weekly setup suggests consolidation. Bitcoin needs to reclaim $90,000 convincingly. Until that happens, sellers control the narrative. Bull case scenario, Bitcoin breaks above $90,000, tests $92,500. That's the former support turned resistance. If momentum builds, we could see $96,000 by early December. Bear case scenario, Bitcoin fails at $88,000, rejects hard, drops back toward $80,000, potentially lower. Realistic target range for next 7 days, $83,000 to $92,000. Next 30 days prediction. This is where it gets interesting. December is historically bullish for Bitcoin. Looking at annual patterns, December typically closes positive. Bull case scenario, Bitcoin reclaims $93,381 by December 31st, 2025. That's the cutoff for a positive 2025 close. Elliott wave analysis suggests wave 5 could push us toward 140,000 to 164,000 by late January or February 2026. Bear case scenario, Bitcoin fails to hold 82,000. The death cross that just confirmed leads to extended weakness. Downside target becomes 74,000. Worst case, 60,000. Middle ground scenario, Bitcoin bounces between 85 and 95,000 through December. Sets up for a breakout in January. My realistic 30-day target, 92,000 to 98,000, assuming no black swan events. Watch these levels closely. 82,000 support, 92,000 to 94,000 resistance, 100,000 psychological barrier. So what's my call today? Directional bias? Cautiously neutral with bullish lean. Here's why. Yes, we're in a downtrend. Yes, technicals look weak, but the data is shifting. Whales are accumulating. Fear is at extreme levels. The power law says we're undervalued. Fed rate cuts may provide a tailwind. This could be a relief rally setting up, or it could be a dead cat bounce before more pain. The truth is, no one knows for certain. What traders should watch for? First, can Bitcoin hold 85,000? Second, does it reclaim 90,000? Third, watch ETF flows. If outflows slow, that's bullish. Here's your action plan. Long-term holders, stay calm. This is noise. Traders, be nimble. Use stops. Don't chase. If you found this analysis helpful, smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, drop a comment below with your price prediction. I'm Candace. This has been Crypto Coin Insider. I'll see you tomorrow with another update. Stay sharp out there. Warning, risk disclaimer, trading cryptocurrency is extremely risky. Do not risk capital you cannot afford to lose. This video is not financial advice.